What's up, guys? So, the race just finished a little while ago. I am super excited. What a race. Um, this race was a real shot in the arm for like NASCAR fans, right? Uh, we finally got to see some real racing. Um, those of you who like pack racing, put on your earmuffs just for a second because you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but there's a lot of people, and this happens every year, okay? I know I'm not the only one who's noticed, but even before, during the broadcast, before the race started, whether it's back at the studio or even other drivers or people in the sport, they make this comment. This is now the real season starts. We hear this every year after the Daytona 500. That's an admission that pack racing is not real racing. I know a lot of you are not going to like hearing that, but those are the facts. That even people within the sport, they're openly saying things like, "Okay, this is now where the real season starts." Why would you say that if you really believe that pack racing is a legit uh real racing? That's an admission that it's all a show. So just wanted to point that out. But man, from beginning to end, this race was entertaining. It gave me everything I could ask for in a race. The racing was great. There were you could run anywhere you wanted. This track is super wide. There's plenty of room for side by side action. You saw almost every restart was like four wide, and you could get away with it here. And it's great because all day long there's comers and goers. Guys would get out and then they'd fall back. Other guys would fall back and get back to the front. Even people making mistakes, they could restart towards the back and still end up working their way up through the field. You can't ask for more than that. This next gen car puts on a great show. It's tailor made for these mile and a half tracks. It just works. Um, and last year, Autoclub was one of the best races of the year, top three in my opinion. And I think it's going to be top three again this year. I don't know how much more you can ask for. I love that the race ended under green, no late, not one of these late cautions where you get these crazy restarts. Um, I love that. It had an old school feel to the racing. Tire wear, it was great, man. And even small teams, Corey LaJoy was competitive all day long. Um, that's all uh, due to this new car. So there's a lot they need to work on with this new car, but man, it's delivering. Um, I loved it. The only spot during the race where it kind of took a step back was that crazy restart where like 10 different cars got caught up in the wreck. A lot of good cars got taken out. So, it was just crazy. I don't know if it was Logano, as usual, pulling some shenanigans up front, or maybe he didn't do anything wrong. When they did talk about it and show the replay, they did kind of say, well, he didn't really do anything wrong. He can go when he wants to within that restart zone, and people behind him anticipated he was going to go, and he didn't. So is it really his fault? I don't really know. But outside of that, man, the racing was great. Even that last green flag, we got a good late race green flag pit stop with no caution following. I love that. It gave the whole race of an old school feel to it, right? So overall, I give this race a 9 out of 10, and I'm actually leaning towards 9.5 out of 10. It was that good. The only thing that kind of dragged it back down and kept it from being even better was the broadcast. This broadcast, it continues to be terrible. Clint Boyer is awful, awful, and he I don't know how this guy still has a job. Even if you want to accept that, okay, he's the clown guy, he's, whatever. Where's the excitement? I mean, he's totally dead in the booth. Um, First of all, he's not funny at all. Okay. Um, and I've never heard him say anything insightful, anything that makes me think, oh, that's a cool thing to know. And it's almost like this guy's not a wasn't a professional NASCAR driver. Like, it doesn't come through on the screen. Like, he just seems like a guy like you just picked off the street, and he's terrible. So I'm just gonna show you an example of how lifeless and terrible he is. Watch this wreck with Allmendinger.
You try these things early in the race to see what you can and can't get away with.
Caution. AJ Allmendinger. Ooh, into the wall. Hard.
Ooh, that's what I think of Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer is awful. He's actually one of the worst people I've heard in the booth. He's just getting worse. I actually thought in the beginning that he had potential, but I don't know what's up with this guy. He's actually devolved. He's gotten even worse. I'm done with him. By the way, I fucking hate this fucking bullshit here. Please bring back the scrolling ticker across the top that was always moving. This thing stays on the top 20 forever. Good luck if somebody you're tracking is running 21st or worse, because it takes forever for this thing to show you what's going on after 20th. This is awful. Look how much room it takes up on the screen. The old scrolling ticker across the top was perfect. It was always moving, and so you could always keep track of where everyone is. This big block is terrible. I fucking hate it. The broadcast continues to drag, and how you could mess up a broadcast that had an actual race of this quality is beyond me. Just imagine NBC doing this race. It would have been awesome. And I know not everyone is a fan of the high pitched voice of both Burton and Dale Jr. I don't care. I like those guys. I like what they bring to the booth. I like the level of excitement, and they're really good together. So that's my feeling on it. I'll take them any day. I know everybody loves Mike Joy. I think it's time to retire. Um, None of these guys bring any life to the booth. I hear a lot of great things about Tony Stewart. He's kind of dead too. I kept waiting to see what he, what is this thing everybody's, oh, Tony Stewart's great. We need to see him full time. I mean, I'm sure he's better than what we heard today, but maybe the energy of Clint Boyer and Mike Joy brought him down as well. Because this stuff is um it does catch, right? It is contagious. And when you're working with people with no energy, it's gonna sap your energy as well. Anyhow, pushing aside the Fox broadcast, what a fucking race. Great race. Loved it from beginning to end. It felt old school, and it's such a shame that this is it for this track. NASCAR continues to make stupid decisions. Um, they had a packed house. This track, it's just 2 years in a row. This thing's going to be top three. I don't see too many races that can potentially be better than this from beginning to end. Maybe the Coke 600. Charlotte puts on a good show, but Man, what a way to go out. Great racing. A lot of good racing all day long. And even when the cars spread out, you always had battles for positions. Fox could have done a better job. Why don't they do through the field anymore? Remember that when they would start with the leader and they would talk about each driver, where they were running, what they were dealing with, all the way to the last car? Where is that? These are the type of things Fox used to do when it was actually good. They don't do that anymore. It's a dead broadcast. It's awful. But in spite of how bad the broadcast was, great race. I am ecstatic. This was a great beginning to the start of the real season, so to speak. And yeah, those are my thoughts. I look forward to your comments later.